What do we want to talk about?
And be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's
BS.
That's BS.
BS. Yes. That's BS.
Okay, man, let's do it. Yeah, here it is. Freebae, episode 167. It's the BS. Thanks for being here. Oh, my name's Jason Bailey. There he is, the B-Man Brandon Thrasher. Hello, B-Man.
Howdy ho, you lovely hoes.
And the one that iron fists anything it walks. It is Chuck Lunsford of Distinct Grace, who has got a new hit song streaming everywhere on every platform called Worn. Hello, iron-fisted one.
Hello, number 369,000 on iTunes right now and climbing. So download it while you can.
That's pretty good. It could be worse, right?
Could be worse. Could be worse.
That out of all the songs in the world?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Out of all this, what was the what was it again? What number?
369,000 and something. It's right after one of Loverboy's first released songs. So
you're beating Loverboy's first song.
yeah, which is huge.
That's great.
I know.
Didn't know we had such a rock star on the show, Brandon. This is fucking...
Yeah, Loverboy. It was pretty bad though. I don't know if you guys ever heard it, but just Google Loverboy's first song and you'll hear it.
I don't think those go together. Loverboy and bad. Everything Loverboy has ever done has been pretty damn good. I mean, if anyone were to, and I don't think they would, but want to get into a debate, confrontational, it would become violent if you were to take shots at Loverboy, Air Supply, or REO Speedwagon. None of those bands have any bad songs in their lineup. I'm sorry, they just don't. And you know every one of their songs, and you just don't even know it. I'm even going to throw Chicago in the loop. All right, so those four bands are romantically dick pumping songs. I mean, right? That's the love making. You know, there were many of us that were probably conceived by those bands.
Yeah, I'm going to add Tesla to your list. I'm a huge Tesla fan.
You know, you're getting crazy. Tesla is not an air supply. I love Tesla. Don't get me wrong. Sacramento guys, actually. But the Tesla is not in the same conversation as Air Supply, Chicago, REO Speedwagon, or Loverboy. Tesla's in their own conversation.
I'm adding them.
You just don't know fucking rock and roll. Just because
you've never made love to signs, okay?
Have you made love to signs?
Yeah, signs everywhere.
Oh, I know. Come on. Actually, you know what? I made love to. I saw the sign. I made love to the sign.
Ace of Base.
I did. That's a true story. You know what? One of my best college hookup stories was there's a girl that I just become single. My girlfriend of 6 years, and I had just broken up, and I didn't know what it was like to be single. I didn't know what it was like to be single in college. And I had went to another college party. I was going to Wingate College at the time, Wingate University now, you know, in Wingate, North Carolina. And we went over to Charlotte, and it was like UNC Charlotte or whatever the school was, another smaller school. We went to a party and I met this girl. I don't remember her first name, but I'll never forget her last name. And she said that to me that night. She goes, "You'll never forget my last name." I said, "Why?" She goes, "Because it's on your speaker." You know, I had those tall speakers, and they were Jensen speakers. So her last name was Jensen. Don't remember her first name, but she was a Jensen. And she comes over and she comes into my dorm room and things happen and whatnot. And it was storming outside. It was so bad. And I had my little alarm clock radio on, and it was on actually a radio station that I almost got hired at many years later. And so we start getting busy. We start getting in the action and stuff. And the rain is bad. I mean, it is bad. It's thundering and lightning. And Lightning Crashes by Live comes on. And I don't know if you've ever been in a lovemaking situation where it's so intense, and I'm talking about not the actual lovemaking, but everything around you is like taking precedence over what is actually happening in bed. So there's lightning, thunder, the raindrops hitting the plasticky type window I had in this dorm room. You can hear the flooding of the water because I was like in a flood zone area. It wasn't coming into the room, but you can hear it going. You can hear all that, right? You can hear the rain hitting on the concrete. It was so hard. It was like, so all this is taking place. All these noises are happening. And then lightning crashes comes on by live. Love Ed, right? Love lightning crashes. And I felt that I needed to perform based to the rhythm of the song and all the sound effects. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation so intense that you have to change your style. And I don't have much style, but you have to change your style to your where in crashes and center falls to the floor. You know, like you're like boom, 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 and that's a long song. Ed Quality writes long songs. They're like 4:15-ish. And I'm like, Jesus. And I knew this. I'm like, that's a long song. I'm going to have to really step up my game here. So I Jensened it, right? I got her. Never talked to her again. She one night stood me. And that was the first time I ever had a one night stand. And
I tried to do that to Keith Sweat.
Have sex with him.
Not
Like, where's
I tried
this
to do the rhythm, the Keith Sweat rhythm. You know what I mean? Like I was like younger. I mean, I was huge into Keith Sweat. Keith Sweat was like Babyface, New Edition. Like that was like I had a moment in my life. And that was like, this is love making music. And you'd play it for your girlfriend, but it's hard to do that too. Because it's a lot of.
Well, your problem is you'll never be able to do it to Keith Sweat because you're white.
Yeah, that was probably most of it.
Right. That was your biggest mistake right there. You're like, I got rhythm. That ain't happening, That's why black guys are better in bed than white guys.
Yeah, I should have had like Cotton Eye Joe on instead. I'd have rocked it.
Yeah, we need to stay in our wheelhouse. Live, Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah, those types of. I see you're wearing a Kid Rock shirt. Kid Rock, we could.
Kid Rock's a good one. You can do that to Kid Rock. Probably
pull off a Kid Rock, that kind of thing, without a doubt. Listen to this. So as we're getting ready for the move, we had an open house the other weekend. One of the most successful open houses I've ever seen. This real estate guy that we got is good. And again, I've told you, like, our house is in a perfect spot. It's a great house. People are moving from the Bay, so we should be good. Still waiting for a contract, but it's been less than a week. But there was a ton of traffic through our house, which was great. The problem is open house lasts for 4 hours. So I had to rent an Airbnb for the day or for 4 hours to get out of the house because we have 5 dogs. Thank God I still have a relationship with the guy who has the house that we Airbnb'd when we first moved out here. Remember, when we first moved out here, I was out here a couple months before we had a place to live. And I paid for an Airbnb for me and the show to live at for a couple months until we all found a place to live. And so I stayed in contact with the guy because he's really sweet, really nice guy. So I'd called him. I said, hey, look, is anybody staying in your house? He's like, no, not. They check out that morning. It's like, can I borrow it for a couple hours and I'll throw you $100 or something? He's like, yeah, cool, no problem. Because it's got a fenced in yard and stuff. So he did that. He didn't even charge me. He's so sweet. Such a nice guy. He's like, anytime you need help, just let me know. So my wife and Ariel, Rach and Ariel went over there for the day, and I went and played poker. And this has been a bad poker run the last fucking 3 or 4 days. I need to take a break. Really, really bad. Just getting destroyed bad. So anyway, so the house thing will sell, but we're expecting to get an offer and a contract. The idea is to be out of this house and most likely this state by the middle of May. That's the game plan. Right? That's the game plan. So I get this renewal for my California driver's license. Now, the only reason, I don't know why I did this. I guess I thought I was staying longer, but the only reason I got a California driver's license was so I could get my concealed permit. It's the only reason. B still has her Georgia license. Rach got a California license because she got a new car out here. We thought we were going to be staying here a while. Again, these promises didn't quite, we were not quite held up as what the big pitch was. The summer camp pamphlet was pitched to me. So we have these California drivers. It's expensive and a pain in the ass to get your California driver's license. Total process. I had to pay over $1,000 to get my California
license.
Yeah. Well, not just the license for my truck. They go by the weight of the vehicle. So I had to go find a place to weigh it, which was like only one, it's not even nearby. And then they take the poundage and then they multiply and they do some kind of math or whatever. So it's over $1,000. Like, what the shit? This is crazy. And I failed then they make you take an actual driver's license test, and I failed it. And then you have to wait 2 minutes to take it again. The pedestrians have a lot of rights in this state. I was always under the idea that if these motherfuckers were not in the jaywalk, like not in the crosswalk, and they get hit, it's on them. Dude, people, they can jump on your car in this state and it's your fault. I mean, they have it's nutty. So anyway, a renewal for your license. This is a scam, by the way. This is a California driver's license renewal scam I'm about to tell you about. It should be every year. That's normally where it works, on your birthday, right? In Georgia, you go to the Kroger, you get your thing at the little kiosk, $20, you're in and out. So I get this thing in the mail and I get an email that says it's time to renew your California driver's license. I'm like, I just got it. And I was like, I know my birthday's in June, but why now? This is months prior.
You talk about for registration on your vehicle or your actual license?
Registration.
Oh, okay.
Registration, and I'm assuming the license too, right? Both the same thing?
No, a license is like your ID, your license. That's like good for 10 years, isn't it?
I get, but why? But usually you do them both, right? Well, why would I have to register every year?
You do. You got to get a new sticker for your tag every year.
Right, and you do that on your birthday.
Yeah, for vehicle registration, not your license.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. The registration.
Okay, well, you said license. That's why I was confused.
Oh, sorry. So registration, yeah. You get the sticker in the mail, right? Or you pops out the kiosk and you put it on. It's every year. Usually costs $20-$30.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. This one has $871.
Oh, dang. Well, I know when you got to pay that like ad valorem tax when you go to a different state or you buy a new vehicle, when it's like 10% of the vehicle price you got to pay. Is that what you're having to pay over there?
I already paid that. I paid that when I did it the first time at the DMV. So here's the scam. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be here. I'm not paying $871 for a full year. That's bullshit. And I'm like, this seems like it's been too soon. So of course you can't get anybody on the phone. So I do a live chat with whoever. And I'm explaining to them that this is ridiculous and that I'm moving. And is there a way to, like, can I just buy a month, or can I buy 2 months, or can I be on a payment plan or something like that? I'm like, I'm not giving you $871. Then they go to explain to me that if I don't pay it by the other day, that it goes up and it's not due until July. But if I pay it early, I get a discount.
That's ridiculous. They said like, all right, well, if you choose to pay when you're supposed to actually get your registration, it'd be $3,000.
Well, if I pay when it's up, it's like $1,040. Okay. Like I'm assuming what I paid for it at the beginning, but they, I guess, think that they're doing you a favor. And if you pay in advance, you get a discount. So it's like a little over $200, which is pretty good. But if I'm not good, my point is they're making it seem that I have to do it now. Because if I'm not here, I don't have to pay for it.
So that was my question. So you don't have to pay. It's not due.
Right. It's not due until July.
When's your birthday?
June 7th.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it.
You'll be out of there by then.
But the way that they're teeing it up is that, hey, dude, like if you normally, like let's say back in Georgia, if you don't do your registration, your birthday comes and passes. I think there's a 30-day grace period. And then afterwards, they'll ticket you. Right?
Yeah.
If a cop cares enough to ticket you. Most of the time they don't. I mean, if it gets ridiculous, they'll ticket you. So that's the way they're making it sound. Like if I don't do it now, that they're going to confiscate my car and ticket me and throw me in jail. But it's not due. They're not making it clear that it's not due until July, that this is just an early, you can pay it early. And I'm like, I'm not even going to be here in July. There's no chance. One way, hell, high water, I will not be in this state in July. It ain't happening. So you can kiss my ass. I ain't paying, bite my ass. I'll do it live. I ain't paying this.
Is your are your Georgia tag still good? Just take the California tag off, put the Georgia one on.
Now, I don't know what I did on the Georgia tag. I think I still have my Georgia license. No, I think they took that. They took
Where
that.
they take your tag?
I don't know what I did with my tag, to be honest with you. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know if I still have it. I might still have it. I don't know. But isn't that silly? That's scammy. That's trickery. That's bait and switch.
You almost paid it.
Yeah, they about got you.
How pissed would you be when you're like, you get it? It's like, hey, you're good from June 2024 to June 2025. You're like, son of a.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I almost did pay it. I did. Hey, for those that are listening, thanks for being here for the Freebae episode. We'll do this once a week where, anybody can listen, but we really hope that you subscribe to the show. It's very simple. If you go to thebaileyshow.com, there's links to everything that you need, including if you want to reach out to me, we are going to start adding sponsors. I already have a good handful of sponsors that are ready to rock and roll high school. So thank you for that. And we're going to support those sponsors in any way, shape, form, fashion that we can, right? Yes. But we really want you to subscribe to the other episodes. What we're doing is, we'll have the BS on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the Tuesday and Thursday are sub episodes, but we also add these, what we call sub extras, these pop-up episodes. They're going to happen more often than not. We just had one with Mike the Situation Sarantino, but it's not just all about the guest, but most of the time they will be with the guest because we're on their schedule when we record. So it'll be with the guest and then we'll move on and then we'll do a show as Chuck and I did afterwards. And it was a lot of fun. And we just hope you're part of the process. I mean, this is going to be a lot looser than what we were doing a couple years ago. We're just having fun and we're hoping that we can continue to grow this audience. So I see everybody that listens to the Wednesday Freebaes. I just wish you would subscribe to the other episodes because they're just as good. And we have a lot of fun and you'll have content throughout the week. I'd said this, I think last Wednesday, to be honest with you, is you're like, well, why should I subscribe? Somebody said, there's so much free content out there. Yeah, there is. But if you like what we do, in order for us to do what we do, we need to, I don't have a job. This is my job. Literally, I don't have a successful rock band and a tree service like Chuck Lunsford. I don't have the 1 million followers in a irrigation company like the B-Man Brandon Thrasher, who also sells his butthole to men for lots of money on the side.
Yeah.
I don't have that. So this is it. And it's just going to get bigger and better, especially with some of the stuff that's in the works. This week has already been a big week with some conversations that I've had with people. I know I keep saying that. And you're like, yeah, he's bullshit. No, you'll see. I promise. You'll see. The receipt is coming. I promise you. So please subscribe and you get all the locked episodes and it's $5. It's $4.99, less than $5. That's all we're asking you to do. Again, thebaileyshow.com, thebaileyshow.com, and you can get up there. So if I were a dick, a lot of you might think I am, but if I were a dick, I would have saved this next conversation for one of the episodes for the subs. But I didn't plan correctly. So I'm gonna do it now.
It up.
Fucked it all up. I'm about to tell you something that I can neither confirm or deny, but I am trusting the advice of a guy that I know that is really nice, really cool, very successful, and seems as legit gets. And I'm going to give you a piece of advice that could possibly make you a multimillionaire. Are you ready?
Lay it on us.
It's very, very simple. It's just a few words, and this is all you have to know. I want anus.
Hey, all right.
That's all you got to know.
I don't know, man. Brandon's been living by that mantra for a long time, and he's not a millionaire.
Different type of anus. Different type of anus.
Oh,
Here's the anus I'm talking about. It's Uranus.
The spinning planet.
planet?
No, it's crypto. It's something new. It's not even out there. It's decentralized right now. And I don't know shit about crypto.
Well, first off, obviously, because you said it's decentralized right now. That's what all crypto is.
No, if it's on Coinbase, I believe it's called centralized.
Well, that's like the whole reason for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is so it's decentralized, so no one controls it except for the people that own it.
Okay, well, maybe I got the wrong term. Maybe you're right. So, like, this is what I've learned so far, and I don't know shit about this. I know zero. Is that there's certain crypto, I thought it was centralized, decentralized, meaning like if it were Bitcoin or Solana or something like that, then if you go through Coinbase or a site like that where you can send, receive, cash out. But then there's a whole other world of crypto that exists that you have to go through a Phantom wallet and then go through Radium and then bring it back to Coinbase. Do you know about all that stuff?
Yeah, somewhat. I'm not really into. I did the crypto for a little while. I made out pretty good on Dogecoin. I wish I would have bought more. I think I bought $30 and it turned into like 850. So probably should have got more, but I haven't done anything with crypto in probably a couple of years.
Did you cash out when you got to the $800 or no?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay. I did not. Yeah. I remember that day. It was Nate that told us about it too. I remember that conversation, and I did it. I put $500, and then in like 10 minutes, it was at 1,000. I'm like, this is it, and then I left it in there, and every day I get these notifications, and I'm like 238. And I'm like, just give me back to 500 and I'll be out.
Yeah, I got mine. It was stupid cheap. It was summer of 18 or summer of 19. I remember it was like that next year, February is when it really started skyrocketing. And I was like, I got to get out now.
So here's the deal with the anus. And so all these like cryptos are jokes. Like that's the whole gimmick behind them. They're all jokes. They're all these fucking smart, and I don't understand how they make money, why they have value. I know nothing about it. But if somebody says that the guys that started, I forget what the other crypto was that was successful and they're all multi-billionaires, and I'm living over in this part of the world where they all come from and live, I'm going to gamble $1,000. If that $1,000 can turn into $10 million, I'll gamble a grand, right? So he tells me about the anus. That's what they call it, the anus. And it's Uranus, but they call it the anus. And there's all these hoops that you have to jump through. So, because you can't buy it, like you can't just go to Coinbase or whatever and buy it because it's not there yet. It hasn't, I guess, hit the market. Would that be the right terminology, Brandon? Hit the market?
Yeah, like those platforms, they choose what coins they host because that was a big problem with Robinhood. I think it was it was GameStop when that whole thing happened. And Robinhood restricted people from buying and selling. That's when they got into that whole big world of like, well, why the hell can you tell us when we can and can't sell? So that's really when crypto got a big push too, because those platforms they're not supposed to restrict you anyway.
They actually didn't they get sued for that, right? Because people had made all that money from that GameStop, which that story, watch that movie with Seth Rogen. That story is phenomenal. Like how that whole thing came about. Like this shit's real. Some nerdy kid in his basement, smart as all smarts, right? Wearing his cat shirt on, doing this streaming financial show, and somehow works the system in order to make millionaires out of all these people with GameStop. And the old school financial guys hate him and they all want to go after him because he's able to buck the system. That shit's great, right? Fucking phenomenal story. So the shit can happen. It's real. People tweak the financial system all the time. So the guys, and I wish I had written, I have it somewhere in my text message. The guys that started, Sherpa, there was a coin, Sherpa. Shiba. Those guys have started this new coin. It's called Uranus. And it's like at some level where you have to know somebody in order to know somebody that knows somebody. And I know somebody. And the process to get it is crazy. Like you have to have a code, and then you go from this, you have to go to Coinbase to your Phantom wallet. I'm learning about all this stuff. And you go to your Phantom wallet, and then it takes like 5 or 6 days because they want to make sure you're legit. And then once that happens, you can then send it to your Phantom wallet. And then you got to go to Radium and then turn it because you have to originally buy something else like Solana, which I did. Oh my God. But I haven't been able to do any of that yet other than have I have the Solana, I have the apps, but I'm still waiting to be approved so I can turn it into it. But my buddy, whose brother-in-law knows all about this stuff and does it, multi-billionaire. That's how he's made his money, in the tech world, the crypto world. He put in like 2,500. He's a doctor. He put in 2,500 and he's already got like $22,000 in like a week.
Yeah, I saw it's up 142% from yesterday.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so what they're doing, I guess it's trying to you've got to buy Uranus with a different crypto. So you got to buy the other crypto. You can't, because some crypto you can put cash into your wallet and then you can turn your cash into crypto. But this one is saying you got to have crypto to buy that crypto.
Right. And that's why I bought $1,000 of Solana.
Oh, okay.
Which is I'm up $30 with that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this could, I mean, that $1,000 could turn into millions of dollars.
You know, Jason, my father bought a Sheltie dog from Africa online. He got a phone call and he went through the whole process, and there's a lot of hoops he had to jump through to send that $1,000 to that preacher in Africa. And you know what he never got?
Yeah.
He never got the dog.
This is the attitude. This is the attitude that I'm talking about right here. This is Chuck, the way he was raised, and he's not venturous like you and I, Branden. He's not willing to take big risk, big reward, Branden, right? Like right after we're done recording for the day, what are you going to do? You're going to get up in Uranus.
I might throw a little 20 piece at it, maybe a little 50, maybe a little 50 on her.
So but you got to know how to do it, and you can't do it without me.
I think I could probably figure it out online.
You can't. You got to have a code. You got to have a code, a special code.
Where do you get you talking about the code from your wallet?
No, it's a different code.
How do I get?
It sounds like, Jason, your poker addiction is now turning into something much more dangerous.
I think he's trying to ramp his friends and coworkers in to give him money.
Yeah, it's like a Ponzi scheme. That's what I'm seeing. I'd say it's like this, like, oh, you know, it's cool. No, you got to go to this place to buy this. But then once you get there, you're going to meet this guy. He's going to give you a code. He's going to get in the door. Once you get in the door, you're going to be a millionaire. It sounds a little, just saying.
Look, I know this is a Freebae episode, but if you subscribe for just $4.99, the next episode, I will make sure you know a little bit more about this code.
Exactly.
No. I'm just kidding. You know, here's the God's honest truth. Okay. So for the most part, I'm a lot like you, Chuck, you know, and there's a lot of things that I'm a lot like you, like you're very narrow-minded when it comes to certain things, because you're old school, you're conservative, you're a traditionalist, and I've got a lot of that in me. I've reached this past year, I've learned a lot. Okay. I've definitely learned that the DTA is real, and everybody that would beat me up for it, go fuck yourself, because that shit is real. When I know somebody's crazy, I know somebody's crazy, and I got to believe in myself. I am not taking advice. Well, I will take advice, but I'm not listening to anybody anymore. You know, those that say, Bailey, oh, you think you know everything? Yeah, fuck you. I do. I know what's best for me. So I'm not listening to any of that noise anymore. Either you want to jump on board the train. I've funded people's lives. I've gave people opportunities. I've helped train people. I've helped learn people. If you don't appreciate it, go fuck yourself. And look, I'm not listening to anybody anymore. I'm done with the traditional way of doing things. I'm done with trying to follow the rules. I'm done with being the good guy, because I have my whole life. I've followed the rules. And I've always said it's bullshit, the world that we live in. You're the good guy. You don't get arrested. You don't beat your wife. You love your family. You love your children. You believe in God. You believe in country. All that stuff gets you nowhere. You need to have a fucked up situation going on in order to do anything anymore. So you know what? All that stuff I'm throwing out the window. I'm taking chances. I'm going to change my way of thinking when it comes to this stuff, because I've reached an age. I've already accepted that I'm off to a new venture professionally in my life. The problem 2 years ago when I started this podcast is I wasn't all in. I didn't buy into it. And you know the reason why, Chuck, was because of that mindset. Seriously, that's the God's honest truth. I couldn't wrap my head around that I was no longer going to work for a company with the 401k, with the insurance, with the day-to-day, with the meetings. I couldn't wrap my head around that I was not going to do that anymore. You know,
I think that with what you're doing, I mean, I get it, right? I mean, I had, do you remember when penny stocks were a thing? I don't know if Brandon, like that was like back in like the early 2000s. Penny stocks were, I mean, people were making money off penny stocks before the whole Wolf of Wall Street thing,
Yeah.
right? It was during that time. And I had a friend come to me and said, "Hey man, there's this company. It was called Good Something Corporation out of China." And he's like, "It's the next 7-Eleven. Like these guys are blowing up. They're gonna have 7-Elevens, but it's gonna be this good company in China, and they're gonna be all over China. And China's what, 5 times the size of the United States when it comes to population."
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, you got to get in on this. And I said, "Okay, how much is it?" And he's like, $500. You pay $500, guaranteed you're going to make over $100,000. But it's in the penny stocks now. It's getting ready to go regulated. And I'm like, $500. Yeah, I can do that. Do you know, to this day, I still have that stock, and you know how much it's worth? And last time I checked was a month ago. So
501
$1.12. Like, I don't even know that's possible. Like, it actually is like a quarter, like a tenth of a cent. Like, and I seriously sit here and I'm like, man, maybe someday it'll come back and I'll be a millionaire. It's only been 12 years. It could come back. But I think
here's the problem. Here's the problem that you made. You trusted that guy and he screwed up by saying one thing. Here's how you know when it's not real, is when they give you an exact price just for $500. When somebody says, gives you a number to invest, that's when it's not real.
so. If I send you money, you could invest it for me.
No, I don't want anything to do with that. You have to do it on your own.
What? You can't be my bookie. What?
No, because that's when no, I'm not mixing money with friendship. No, that ain't happening. I mean, I'll let you know once I get it all done. I'll tell you how to do it. I mean, I can tell you guys how to do it now. If we'll do it. I mean, I think I don't want to give it all out because I don't know how. I don't want to fuck anybody over, and I don't want to screw it up because I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, let me be the first to admit that. But my buddy didn't come to me and say, "Hey, give me $1,000," or all you have to do is invest $1,000. Look, I saw his account. I saw his $2,500 and I saw his $22,000. Brandon just pulled it up on the internet. It's real, right? It's a thing. He just saw that it's up 100+%. What they're speculating this week, by the time we record this whole conversation could be totally different, right? This week, it's supposed to even go up even more. So within the next couple weeks, months, I mean, this thing could be crazy. Like, and you go back to the penny stock thing. It's like the Amway thing, right? Or any multi-level marketing. It's the get rich quick, if it's too good to be true. Again, if I step outside my normal conservative traditionalist way of thinking, brought up as a boomer into a Gen Xer, work hard, work a long time, stay with the company. All that shit's fake. Companies aren't loyal, right? That way of thinking, that way of making money is not it. I got some great advice when I got into podcasting from my buddies Tom and Dan. A Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan, a great podcast, by the way. If you've not checked them out, make sure you check them out. Go to their social media, tell them Bailey sent you. They're phenomenal people, and they are the masters at this craft. They were doing this before anybody did it. People laughed at them. They left radio, got out of their contracts, said, fuck this, we're going to work for ourselves. We are done. Cut ties. Now what are they doing? They've got hundreds of thousands of fans. They actually are on radio stations in podcast form, which again is the future. I told you all that last week. And anyway, when I went down there and I talked to them, kind of job shouted them. And I said, learn me on how you're doing this. And they're like, well, the content stuff, you're not going to have a problem with. All that stuff, you're not going to have a problem with. Like, just make sure you have at least 5 revenue streams in order to live, in order to survive. And I was like, okay, so like have subscription, have sponsors, have merchandise, which we have those 3, have events, which we have had in the past, which we'll have moving forward, and then have other things, right? And which we will have. Then you have to make sure that people like what you're doing, appreciate what you're doing enough for them to contribute to those types of deals. So the same concept in our lives, not real life, but in our lives, is that you now have to have numerous revenue streams. You can't, if you think that you're going to be able to live your life and retire at traditionally 65, which is not a thing anymore, or 75, whatever it is, not a thing anymore, and live comfortably off of your Social Security, you're fucking stupid. You're an idiot. Because look at what inflation has done just in the past 5 years. Have you looked at what your Social Security money is going to be? I just got mine the other day. What it tells you it's going to be, if you wait until 70, if you wait until 75, you better hope you own your own home, which I guarantee if you're under the age of 60, most likely you will not, right? So you're still going to have a mortgage that's going to be between $2,000 and $4,000. What are you going to rent? What do you think the price of rent is going to be in 20, 30, 40 years? Do you think that Social Security check of $2,000, $2,500 a month is going to not only provide you to live, but also to eat and to just get a haircut or have a drink? No, you have to have numerous revenue streams. You have any successful, financially successful person in this world will tell you this. They'll say you have to at some point take a risk. You have to. A calculated risk, but take a risk. You have to take a risk. And most of the risks that I've taken have been pretty good. I mean, I've failed. I had a failed business in Tampa with my first wife. That's on me. Learned a lot. You know, I had one bad failed real estate property. Had no idea a huge recession was coming in the mid 2000s. That sucked. But the rest of them are pretty good. You know, this one, I'm telling you, this is like what you see with the Dogecoin. That one day, Brandon, we were seeing stories. I think you even knew, or I think Nate knew, of people that were making thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars that day, right?
Yeah, I think his buddy or his brother-in-law something made like 10 grand or something pretty good off like 20 bucks, 30 bucks, something like that.
Right. It's a thing. It can happen. So back to Chuck, you know, you're talking about like, I got a buddy, the Nigerian prince and stuff like that. Just be smart about the investments. Like you would agree, right, Brandon, that this day and age, I mean, this is right up in your generation's wheelhouse, in your squisher. This is today.
We gotta dump all our money into crypto because we definitely ain't gonna have no Social Security by the time I get up there.
Well, either that's the case or not. But there are, for people that say that there aren't ways to make money, it drives me insane. Just sitting behind your computer, you can find ways to make money. Anyway, and you just got to find, like, look at you, Chuck. You're retired from the military, right? You worked for Homeland Security after you served, right? So you're retired. You have chosen, as you should, but much commendable, to stay home, be a father, to be around your kids and watch them grow, which is awesome. You've got a great family. You've got great friends. You've got a great life, in my opinion. For those that don't know, Chuck, all these things are real. But you still find ways to generate revenue, right? Yeah. Now, granted, the Distinct Grace rock band stuff, I don't think I've ever heard you guys get paid for a gig because you always do it for charity. But you do stream it. You want somebody to pay 99 cents for the download of Warm. Cool. I will do it. You know, of course, to support you, I will do it. You have a tree business that came out of nowhere. But you're still, it's a business. There's nothing wrong with that. You go out there, you set up your crew. That's another revenue stream for you and your family. You have to have, but you didn't, like when you were 9, you were like, man, one day I want to grow up and own a tree service.
No. But I mean, you look at the market, right? Like when I got out and I retired and I was looking at, okay, what can be profitable, but something that I can learn. And, you know, there were things that I looked into a lot of things. I mean, I was trying to figure out where, you know, this revenue, like you said, maybe get an OnlyFans page, right? That wasn't going to work. So I'm looking at, okay, well, what about being like, you know, doing electrician or welding and the crafts were so difficult to learn. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I had a buddy that came over to help me out with this tree and he had a chainsaw and he's like, you know, cutting down a tree for me. And I'm like, man, that seems like something really easy that you can like really master quickly. And he's like, I guess, you know, as long as you're not afraid to do it. And so I went and bought a chainsaw, started going to work with him a few days. And I was like, how much do these guys get paid to climb the trees, the climbers? And he's like, if they're good, $600 a day. I said, $600 a day to climb a tree and take it down piece by piece. I'm like, oh, I could totally do that. I'm doing that. And he's like, it takes a lot of experience. And I'm like, no, dude, I got it. Like I can do this. It's just climbing a tree and cutting from the top down. It's easy. They got me all rigged up. I climbed the tree. I made it about, I don't know, 15 feet. And I was like, yeah, how much did the guys on the ground get paid? And he's like, 200 a day. And I was like, and I was like, that's what I think I want to do. I said, I think I want to be a ground guy. And he's like, yeah, he's like, the climbers are a different breed. And so I started doing it that way. And I started realizing, okay, $200 a day just to be a ground guy. You know, then you start working ropes, they get 300 a day. You can operate a Bobcat, you're making 350 a day. Driving gets paid a little bit more. So, I mean, I drove for a month. I drove a log truck in Atlanta, and it was the worst experience of my life. I mean, driving this massive truck, because I was like, I got to do something. I'm going to master this. And, you know, it took me about a week or two to be like, you know, I don't think this is where I want to be in life. You know, like the pay was good, but it was the most stressful thing. Driving downtown Atlanta at 4 p.m. in a log truck through, like, you know, Roswell and then into Buckhead. It was absolutely horrendous. So I said, what if I start a company and I hire all the professionals that have done this for years, and all I do is just talk to the customers, man. You know, talk to them, make sure the documentation's good. So yeah, that worked out. It took me a while to get there, but that worked out where now I'm comfortable and I'm like, okay, this is what I can do, and I like doing it. And it's somewhat things that are in my wheelhouse. Climbing trees, not something I'm good at.
The quickest pay cut ever in the history of pay cuts. 15 feet. That's all it took. I didn't know I didn't know you did all that. I just thought you bought a company. Like,
no, man, I tried it all.
I couldn't do that. I'll buy the company. I'd rather.
Yeah. It was not like a decision. You're like, I think I'm going to buy a company. It was, you have to learn the workings of any industry, I think. And, you know, Branden, the things that he does, if he asked me to come out, it would take me a while to figure it out. But once you figure it out, you're like, okay, this is how you make money doing it. And there's ways that you can lose a lot of money doing it.
Oh yeah.
But
Underbidding.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Underbidding, you know, getting competitive. And
the worst, I think, is like when you're first starting out and you want to get jobs, but you know, you're new and you don't have any experience or resume behind you. And then you're like, well, let me bid this job low. And then you end up getting a job and it ends up costing you money instead of, you could have just sat home all day and not made any money. And instead you're losing money.
Happens all the time, man.
I think with Rach and I have been kicking around this idea, you know, as we literally start a new chapter in our lives. And, you know, whether she stays in real estate, I mean, she could still do real estate. I mean, that's such a great job, especially if you're as good at it as she is, where we go. But we're thinking about opening a med spa because that's where she's working at here. And there are certain equipment that are fairly inexpensive with little to no overhead. And you just do the membership thing where you say, okay, you know, you charge 150 or 250 bucks a month and you can come in so many times or as many times as you want and that kind of thing. And really all you're doing is hiring some kid at the front to wipe it down. All of it's, you know, none of it's surgery. You don't need a nurse practitioner. I mean, there are med spas that have that. We would not. We would have, it's a really hot thing right now. These infrareds, these ozone type of things for people, the therapy, and they work. They're real. It does work. The idea is to have something with little to no overhead, right? Not a lot of cost out of pocket. And as simplistic it is to run, you're starting to see a lot of these tanning beds go that route. It's kind of like the run of the hardware store into the grill store because they realized, okay, we're not going to be able to compete with Home Depot and Lowe's, but we have the same customer base. So why don't we sell them what they don't have by doing this? Same thing with the tanning beds. They're like, okay, the tanning bed still exists. People still use it. It's not the healthiest thing in the world to do. Our clientele is kind of shrunk, but it's the same clientele that goes to these med spas and wants the ozone sauna, the ozone therapy, the infrared therapy, those types of things. If we add that, now we got it going on. So you add both of them together and boom.
Wait, so you're going to put tanning beds with the med spa?
Yeah, that's kind of that's the blueprint of what these places are doing. You know, I don't want to buy a franchise because I mean, it's good that they'll help you out and all that stuff, but you get locked in and it's kind of a pain. I mean, I say that now, but who knows? But Rach knows how to run this stuff. I mean, she's been doing it and doing it well for this past year, and it's not difficult. So yeah, so like when we'd call it the bees is med spa, and then would give it to Ariel when she graduates college, because that's what she wants. She wants to do the cosmetology and all that stuff, and she can branch out and do more with it. But to have a clientele already that exists for her in the next 3 years, and then we just hand it off to her, parenting done. Boom.
You guys could call it Ray J's.
Ray J's. Here's the problem with that. We talked about this this last week on the Honey I Raised the Kids podcast. Ray J's already taken. That's the dude that was on camera nailing Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. Ray J facials.
Yeah. They specialize in facials.
That's really funny. Anyway, the point is, back to Uranus. The point is I think you got to take chances. I do. I think you got to take chances. And if that means losing money, you lose money, but take calculated risks. I see it happening all the time. Again, living over here on this coast, being so close to the Bay Area and all these fucking techie nerds, there's so much money that they've made. And I'm like, how did you make it? What did you do? That's why California is so expensive to live here, because these people can fucking afford it. They have so much money, and it's crazy of the disposable income that these people have, and it's all from everybody else in the rest of the country that they've made it off of. So people are trying to figure out California. There you go. That's the secret. They're rich because of you. They've designed pretty much probably everything that you use as far as technology wise goes, and you couldn't even fathom the money that is in that tech world. It's ridiculous. The numbers that they throw around and that they pay these people, it's absurd. It's not like a normal world. It's not normal at all. I mean, it's normal for them, but it's not normal for you. Like the low end of the totem pole in California is like 200 grand as far as the salary. You go to Georgia and you make 200 grand, you're fucking rich.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the different industries too, right? I mean, you have not only the tech world, but aviation is huge out there with Boeing, Northrop, and then the entertainment industry, obviously. But I mean, it has a lot to do with the location. I mean, love or hate California, the one thing I remember, the weather's amazing. And I mean, you don't have the crazy weather swings that we do in Georgia, the ones that I had in Michigan growing up. It is really, really good for that. And so I think that helps a lot of these companies go there. And you're like, look, you don't have to worry about all these winter snow days and different types of, natural disasters happening, other than earthquakes, which I don't know if they still happen out there.
Forest fires.
And forest fires. But, other than that, I think it's just all of it. It's just all of the money is there. And you go to other states like Mississippi and you're like, dang. I mean, if you had $200,000 in Mississippi, you're probably the governor.
Yeah, probably, pretty much. Well, look, when this hits and I have all this money, I am going to be the first to say I told you so. And I'm going to laugh in your faces for those that doubted me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in. You got to give me that code, and I'm gonna post it on Instagram after I put some in there, and we'll do a old pump and dump.
You're gonna post the code on Instagram? You can't do that.
Oh, I can't.
No.
But don't you want more people? You want more people buying it, don't you? So the price goes up.
I don't know the rules, Brandon. That doesn't sound right. Like none of that sounds like, I don't even know if I should be talking about. Like, I don't know the rules. Yeah, I was hesitant to even bring it up.
Well, you better figure it out quick, because a lot of people are probably going to buy it now or try to.
Send me the code. I'm going to talk to my followers about it, and I'll let you know what we decide.
Oh, you're fine. It's only 40 people. But Brandon,
exactly. That's why we're a community.
You don't even have enough people to have a cult.
we are going to make this decision together. Just send me the code. I'll talk to them and I'll let you know if we're in or not.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. I got to check with my guy to see what I can say. Like I might have to not even publish this episode. I should probably check with him beforehand. Thank God we record in advance, so I got to go back to him. But I'm guessing that is how it works, right? You want more people to do it, but I'm getting in on the ground level. I don't know how many people we want on the ground level.
Well, as soon as you get in, then you start pumping more people in.
Well, let me make my money first, and then I'll.
Well, you got to have more people in there to make more money.
Oh, is that how that works?
This is literally a pyramid scheme. Yeah, pyramid
Ah!
scheme.
Well, isn't everything pyramid scheme?
You
we're at the
need
top of the
people on the
pyramid.
bottom. You need people on the bottom to build it up. Like,
I also got sent all these long distance cards with my $1,000 investment and a bunch of makeup. So
hey, I'm selling Rodan and Fields if you guys want in. We'll talk about that later. You're making a lot of money doing that.
selling
So
what?
what?
Rodan and Fields, skincare.
You're selling skincare.
No, I'm kidding. It's the same thing. It's
Oh.
you get a bunch of people selling the skincare under you, and you're like the skincare person. And
I get it, but the delivery of the joke, one, you used a really odd reference of something neither Brennan and I have heard of before. Like,
because
how
my
did you know
wife
that
sold
name?
my wife sold it for a while until I convinced her what it was.
Oh, she was
Mary
scamming
Kay.
people.
But he said it so straight, right, Brandon? We're like, huh? I will tell you, I did get roped into one of these in college. So there was a guy that I went to high school with, and he was the master manipulator. I mean, he was good. He was popular, good at football. Chicks loved him. Quirky, weird, but he was the guy. And he was a year older than me. And when we got it, he was always looking for the get rich quick schemes. And when we got into college, he started selling STS, which was a long distance card. Okay. So do you remember the 1-800 dial ATT? You know,
Yeah.
that you save money. So you'd call the 1-800 number first, they would transfer you. This is when you had to pay for long distance. And that was my college years in the 90s. That was the thing. You know, I had a long distance relationship with my girlfriend. If I were to call and sometimes long distance was in the same state, right? So it just all depended on where you lived at. So you wouldn't talk to somebody before peak hours. I still don't understand why that ever existed. Like, I don't understand why long distance even exists and why it was more money to make a phone call at 12 noon than it was at 6 at night. I still never understood it. So you would have this was you'd buy in for $500. You would receive supposedly, I guess, hundreds of dollars, if not the same value of long distance cards. And then if you were able to get somebody, you get two people to sign up, they started doing, then you start making money and that kind of thing. I just was never able to get anybody to sign up. But this dude, our quote unquote friend, signed up all of us. So he was actually, I guess, making money, like thousands of dollars in college. All as I got out of it, and I was cool with it. I was like, oh man, I get free long distance. So you would have this STS, I think it's STS or STD, STS, I think. No, STD is a sexually transmitted disease. STS. So I had this STS card in my wallet at all times, and you'd scratch off the little thing, and you'd have the code. You would call the number, you'd put in the code, then you would dial the number that you were trying to call, and then when your time was, you have 2 minutes remaining on your card. Still don't understand why that ever existed, but that was a pyramid scheme, But they say Amway was a pyramid, or it is a pyramid scheme, but people make tons of money off Amway. Tupperware, Mary Kay, right? Mary Kay.
Yeah, no, Mary Kay's the facial or the
pink people,
makeup stuff. Yeah,
pink people. Yeah, I mean that all worked for those people. Same concept.
So I sold those cards too.
Oh, really? Chuck, let me tell you this. Every time I bring up that story, no one knows what I'm talking about.
I remember when it came out because I just joined the military, and when we were deploying, we were going to like Saudi Arabia for our first deployment, and it was the same thing. You had to use a calling card to call home, and they'd be like, "Oh, I got 100-minute," and people would give them to you in care packages, whatever. But back then, there was no war going on. September 11th had not happened yet, so you're not getting like overwhelmed with care packages. People were just like, "Yeah, whatever." So we got ready to leave, and that thing was huge, and people were selling these phone cards, and we had been like, okay, well, we make money off selling these phone cards. So every time, the unit would get ready to deploy, you'd be like, hey man, I got these phone cards. Can you sell them to your parents or sell them to whoever they want to get in touch with you? They need to buy these for you. Right. So you had the parents of the kid or the teenagers deploying, like buying, like, okay, well, I want Jason to have 5,000 minutes while he's there so he can talk to me every day. And, and they'd buy it. And I mean, there was one guy in our unit, he made a lot of money, but it had to be like the head honcho. It had to be the kid that like put it together. He was rolling in it. And then, like you said, all the rest of us, we just got like, thousands of minutes. And, I could talk on the phone forever. I was just like, oh, this is great. I got, you're whipping out a stack of phone cards. You're handing them out for free. Like, it was like you were the man. But Yeah, I remember that. That's funny because I totally forgot about those stupid cards being a thing until you just said that.
And just think about this. We actually would talk on the phone. Think about the concepts of you buying long distance minutes to talk on the phone. That just right there. Nobody wants to talk on the phone anymore. Like I only like to talk on the phone if I'm in the car and I need to brainstorm. Like everybody I've worked with, they've all been, these millennial age type people where they don't get on the phone and they just text and they don't email and any of that kind of stuff. And they have no concept of brainstorming, understanding that the best ideas come up in conversation, right? Usually they're not even like, hey, I have an idea. They come up with, hey, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I'm getting ready to use the y'all stall. Oh my God, that's a great name for a song. That kind of thing. That's the best brainstorming, but you have to be communicating, verbally communicating with one another. You can't do that in text and you can't do that anywhere else. So the concepts, believe it or not, people, of I paid for cards that gave me minutes to talk to somebody, which meant that you would take time out of your day to sit, almost like appointment time out of your day. Hey, look, I'm going to call you at 6:00. My girlfriend and I in high school and college, we had Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, 6:00 Tuesday, 6:00 Thursday. I had to be in my room no matter what. I'd call her, she called me, back and forth. But at 6, I knew that day I'd wake up, I get to talk to my girlfriend tonight. That was cool.
Yeah, those were the good old days, man. That was the best.
Brandon, can you even fathom this concept?
No, I mean, I've used a international calling card or long distance card when I went to where was that? Germany. I used that one time, and then now I barely remember when I was growing up. We were slowly phasing out the home phone, so that was the thing. And I remember my parents got their first like cool cell phone, like where you could text on it easily with the keyboard. I was like, damn, this thing's badass.
Yeah. But can you fathom the idea of, hey, I'm going to call you tonight at 6:00, and you would talk for like an hour? I would, in middle school, I would talk to girls so long that I'd fall asleep on the phone. Imagine that.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like do you remember getting the phone bills for like thousands of dollars because you spoke to somebody like 3 counties away?
Yeah.
And they didn't warn you. Like you'd be speaking long distance. And I mean, you knew you called long distance because you had to dial the 1 in the area code, but you were like, screw it. It's not going to be that long. Dude, it was like $6 a minute. It was insane back then. Crazy. And then you'd get in trouble when the parents got the bill and they're like, you were talking to Melanie. And you're like, I didn't know she lives 6 miles away. But you knew. But either way.
This is Melanie's number, right? I called it.
They would call the number. They would call the number and be like, who is this? Whose house is this?
You'd have to spend money in order to know how you wasted money.
You're all over my long distance. Who is this? How do you know me?
I have back to back.
It's crazy.
This number. I used to call when I was a kid. I was like 6 or 7. I used to call the 1-900 sex numbers just to hear the woman talk dirty and breathe on the other side, right? Which now you look back and you're like, you fucking telephile. You're like a telephone pedophile, right? And so I would call and they'd be like, hi, if you'd want to talk to Sarah, press 2. It's $1.99 for the first minute, then 99 cents each additional minute. And they would just build. This was like the evolution of putting your credit card. This was, they just build your phone. And so I'm like, fuck yeah. I saw it because I would see this on late night TV. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to talk to Sarah. So, I'm sitting there and she's like, hi, what's your name? And I try to get Jason. Hi, Jason. You know what I'm doing to myself right now? No, what are you doing?
Like Oscar the Grouch.
Touching my breasts. I'm like literally, I was 6, 7, 8 years old. I was doing it. And then I would call these numbers at my friends' houses because then it became a joke where I was like, oh, this is a fun prank. This is when I started pranking people. I was like, I want to get them in trouble. And I would never tell them that it was me. Still to this day, now Kurt Brock's dead, but still to this day, Kurt Brock never knew that I would call the 1-900 numbers from his house and he would get in trouble for it. This is the first time I've ever told anyone that information because I thought it was funny because he would come to school and be like, I got in trouble. My mom thinks I'm calling these dirty hotlines.
And they were like $12 a minute, like legitimately.
Anyway, so I was doing it at our house all the time, and so I couldn't do it. I'm a kid. I don't know anything about this stuff. I was a very horny kid. Like when I was young, I would even touch my dog's nipples because I was like, those are nipples. And so I was a really, really horny kid, but I would never, like, nobody knew it. You know, I was a closet horner. So my mom didn't think I'd call it. So she'd blame it on my brother. And I'd only call, he was only home 6 months out of the year. The other 6 months he was with his father in Alaska. So I could only call the 1-900 numbers 6 months out of the year, unless I was over at my friend's house. It's the greatest thing ever. Now imagine that, sitting on the other end of a phone, really believing that that girl's hot, and she's just talking to you, you know, compared to what we have now, where you go on Pornhub or whatever the case may be. And I mean, literally, you can go into a web chat and see somebody and talk to somebody and have them do things. How crazy is that? That was like where it all started, right? I mean, it started with the peep shows back in the day, you know, the dirty peep shows. It turned into this and then this and then that to where we're at now. Then the next phase is going to be the Oculus, right? It's already there.
Oh yeah, or the holograms and stuff.
Yeah,
robots
banging air. You know, it's going to get kind of. So anyway, all right, Brandon, you ready for your one question?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
One question with Branden.
All right, Brandon, go ahead.
All righty. I was thinking about this one because I play with dangerous things a lot. What is the opposite of fire?
Water.
Is water opposite of fire, though?
Yeah, you just asked. I just answered.
I don't think water is the opposite of fire. Puts fire out.
Yeah, the opposite would be its nemesis. Like, give me, so another example. What is the opposite of a pen? You would say pencil, right?
No, because they're not opposite. They do the same thing. One's got ink, one's got graphite, but they still write, so they're not opposite.
Well, now you're playing a verbal shell game. Like, the opposite of fire would be water, because it's doing the. Don't shake your head at me, Chuck. It's doing the opposite. It's doing the opposite. To your point, it's the opposite of what it is. It's not hot. It's cold. It's not fire. It's wet.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the opposite of it. Because, like, what do you eat? Boiling water is still hot. You can put it on there. That put a fire out.
I mean, I thought this was obvious, and Jason said water. I said ice. I mean, I think fire and ice is complete opposites, right?
Right.
Because one is really hot, one is extremely cold. So I don't think it's just water. Because like Brandon said, you know, hot water. I wouldn't take boiling water and say this is the opposite of fire. But ice is always going to be ice.
Well, ice is water. Now you're just using fancy words.
Yeah, but it's cold water.
Ice is not a fancy word. Yeah, it's ice, fire, and ice. Isn't that a song?
It is fire and ice. It's a band.
Well, they wrote Game of Thrones off of too, I think.
Isn't that Dio? Fire and ice. Ice and fire.
I don't know the song. I know the book. I didn't read it.
So what is?
I'm saying ice.
Yeah, I'm going. Well, ice is water. So just say water. Water is.
It's not water. It's ice.
Well, so then would steam be the opposite of fire too? Because that's like the other stage of water, liquid.
No, you can't have steam.
Ooh.
Hold on. No, here. Okay. Now I'm going to shoot some holes in this. Okay. So you can't have something that's the opposite if the thing that you're trying to find the opposite of creates. Fire creates steam.
Does it?
Heat.
Oh, I guess so. But it's more smoke, not steam. I mean, I guess if you got wet wood, it's going to be steaming a little bit.
Oh my God. I feel like we're in science class right now. I have no idea.
So you're talking about fire. You're talking about heat, you know, right? Heat, fire, same thing.
No. Heat and fire are not the same thing.
Well, fire produces heat.
Yes, but they're not the same thing.
I understand that. I'm just trying to break it down. So water produces steam.
If it's hot, yeah.
If it's hot, which comes from the fire.
Yeah, but steam's, so what are you saying? Steam's not the opposite of fire?
No,
The byproduct of fire?
no, steam is the byproduct of water, which fire makes.
Fire doesn't make the water.
Fire doesn't make
It makes the
water.
steam.
No, I never said that. You got to pay
Just
attention.
did.
No, I said fire makes the steam from the water. The heat from the fire makes the steam from the water.
Okay, so is steam the opposite of fire? It's not. It's byproduct of water and fire.
No,
But
steam
You're saying
steam would be on team water.
you're just saying water in general is the opposite, but not steam, not the other forms of H2O.
No, correct. Yes.
I mean, Chuck's does kind of make more sense in the water world if it's ice, because it is cold.
Ice is water, though. Water. You got to go with the mama.
Then we're going back to the steam. Steam is water.
Right. Steam and ice are a byproduct of water. So it's all about you. I mean, you guys you're bidding it out. Steam, water, fire, heat, hot. That comes from the fire. You got to just spread it out. You guys aren't simplifying it. You have team water. You have team fire. Who's on team water? Steam's on team water. Ice is on team water. Who's on team fire?
Yeah, but you don't get steam. Steam can't be on team water unless he's on team fire. He's got to have the fire, the heat.
Yeah, but you can't. You have to have the water. Water is
You have to have the water. Yeah.
Water is you without a doubt have to have the water.
The steam can't be on either side. Then got to be on his own team.
No, steam's on team water. Because
Because if it's on water, then it's not getting the fire and it's not steam. But it's got to be on fire team, but it can't because there's no water over there. So it's got to be its own third entity. It's like the Holy Trinity.
Look,
But they're all the same.
The whole deal with this bit is you ask the question.
I'm trying to get a real answer. I don't like your answer. I don't think it's right.
It's ice. It's ice.
It's fucking ice is water, asshole. You can't ask your question and then not like the answer. Like, just ask your question and shut the fuck up because I'm answering your question.
Yeah, I don't think you're answering it rightly, though.
Rightly is not a word.
Because it's ice. It's ice.
Yes, I agree. It's ice, which is water.
I don't know. I think I would, if I like Chuck's answer better. I think I like the ice part. That makes kind
Thank
of
you.
Ice is always cold. Water is not.
Thank you, Brandon.
But you can't have ice without water.
You can't have steam without
water.
But you got to have fire.
Water is water. You guys are missing the whole point here. Water, you have to have a home base, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have something always, you go with the catalyst. Like if you're trying to find out what the problem is, you know, this is a issue people always make. You know, the problem always people always make, the mistake people make. They always go, well, they always nitpick. Well, this and this and that, and this and this and that. Shut the fuck up. Go to the original problem. What was said? Stop going off all these spin-off things. Women do this all the time, right? You just shut them down. So I do it right. Shut her down. Stop. How did this whole thing start? Okay, let's figure that out first, and then we'll move on to this other shit that came up that didn't need to come up. Same thing with your question. Ice. Yeah, ice is a great answer. Sounds cool. It's in songs. It's neat. But you can't have ice without water. So water is the answer. Water is the answer. I just Googled it. Water is the answer.
What's the difference, or what's the opposite of hot?
Cold.
Case in point.
There you go.
So it's ice.
That means ice.
Water.
Well, I guess I'll never fucking know. I appreciate it, guys, for teaching me nothing here. Really wanted to know that answer.
Would you ask better dumb questions, please?
That was a great question.
That was a great
You still don't know the answer.
I know the answer. Y'all don't know the answer.
You got your own answer in your head. I don't think it's accepted by the community.
You asked, I gave. Anyway, all right. Please sub for the other episodes. You can go to thebaileyshow.com and there's all the links to the podcast stuff. So please sub for all the episodes. Thank you to those that do. You two peers are great. Thanks for the support. New newsletter out this week. Hope you got that. And please make sure you follow on social media at Listen to the BS, at Mr. Jason Bailey. Like, share, follow. Our views and followers are just skyrocketing. I've not seen anything like this in years. So thank you for doing that. As well as our YouTube channel, which I'm trying to grow even bigger. All the video up there, plus full episodes of today's episode, the Freebae episode on Wednesdays, and also Honey I Raised the Kids podcast. Full episodes up on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. So, and that is at The Bailey Show. All right. The Iron Fisted one. What do you got before we get out?
Check it out at Chuck from the BS on Instagram and Chuck from the BS on Facebook. Please get on iTunes, wherever you get your music. Check out Distinct Grace. Download our new song, Warn. Check out some of the old stuff too. I still think it's really good. But check it out. Let us know. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, they have a whole library of music. Not only they have Warn, they have Torn, they have Scorn, they have Porn,
Mourn,
Reborn, Rip Torn, Reborn, Corn. Yeah, they have a lot of songs.
I wrote all of those. I wrote all of them.
Very creative songs.
Yeah.
Very creative songs. All right, Brandon, what do you got?
Oh, follow us on Facebook, The Clueless too, so we can start getting paid there. And we're gonna be doing a new series called, I don't know the name of it yet, but it's gonna the idea is whose placenta is it? And we're gonna find like these women and then they just had a baby and we're trying to get their placenta. And I'm gonna work with a cook and we'll like prepare it different ways, like a placenta stew or a placenta burger or placenta hot dog. And then we'll get some people to eat it, and you got to guess which placenta came from which woman.
Are you okay?
I like that. I think that's a good idea. Maybe I should have left that one up in my head till I posted it.
How in the blue nipple did you come up with that idea?
Well, because we were, I was watching some video about how they do that in a lot of countries and cultures. They eat the placenta. I'm like, dude, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a good video to do.
Hello,
It's definitely taboo, and people are like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Yeah. Chuck, do you have any placenta that you'd like to give me?
No, man, that's some Anthony Hopkins stuff right there. I'm good.
That's fucking weird, dude.
That is the weirdest thing I've heard in a long time. Good luck, man.
Y'all ever ate placenta?
Yeah, I just had some for breakfast with some holiday. Really good.
Had
I
a
like-
bowl in your Wheaties?
I like mine a little overcooked, a little char grilled, blackened maybe. Yeah, that's kind of how I like it. Poof. All right. Anyway, again, thanks for listening. Thanks for support. Thanks for the follow. Until next time, we'll talk to you then. Hey, bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out thebaileyshow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here."
What do we want to talk about?